They feel like I'm just in the house. After you kept saying, at least. I'll just look at Jazz if they get crazy.
Yeah. I'll run out.
Just like this.
I'll run out.
All right.
I love you, but.
Is it here, right?
Yes.
I have had the most interesting morning this morning. In reading chapter 4, I could not stop crying this morning.
Wow.
I know. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of that today.
Oh, I'm a crier.
Hopefully it won't get you like it got me, but I was just undone, overdone, remade, microwaved, and just like,
Oh, wow.
you stick a fork in.
Okay.
Last week I gave you a little like a preview of my journey into like how I arrived, like how my week goes. So normally during the week I told you if we're in a chapter, I'm listening to the chapter on audio most of the time or reading through it. And then throughout the week, if different things jump out at me, then I go back through and I'm grabbing and I'm looking up and I'm studying and I'm pulling out verses. So for some reason this week, I was doing the thing I was not doing last week, which is I was focused on the part of the story that most people know, which is Ichabod. The glory of Yah has left, right? I was like, get to that point because that point's really important. And yesterday I was sitting down and reading through it again, like getting ready to write down my little outline. Most High just like would not let me move past this like first part. And like I'm gonna deal with what glory is. We're gonna deal with Kavoda. We have all these things that are gonna happen, and so what is it right here? And the Most High was like, you don't see nothing wrong with this. Oh, a lot with it. Like, listen to me. Self, huh? You don't see anything. You don't see anything wrong with what you're reading. And I'm like, well, oh, no. Read it again. Read it again. Read it again. Read it again. Read it. And I finally just like, oh, crap. So I'm gonna give you this part ahead of time, and then we'll work up to it. Did anybody else see anything wrong with what happened when they went to battle against the Philistines? No, right?
I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay, let's do some recapping, right? Because that's so important right now, of course. So let's recap. So chapter 1, we get Elkanah. We find out who he is. We find out what his job is, right? Elkanah is a priest. He's not just a regular guy living in Africa. He is Elkanah from the Levitical line from the tribe of Kohath, right? And we figured out the Kohathites opened the gates, right? We learned that. Most High gave me this one. Years old and upwards, even until 50 years old, and all that enter into the host to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This shall be the servant. We learned about the gates, right? We did learn about the most holy things. And when that's the veil that separates outside the most holy place from, I actually have a picture of it on one of my sheets. I'll pull it up for you guys. I'll put it here. Okay, and so take down the veil and cover the ark of the testimony with it. So the veil is taken down and it's laid over the ark of the testimony. All right. This all makes sense. I'm not just pulling your leg here. And verse 6, and shall put of the badger skin, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof. Now this is the ark. This has a stage that go into the four holes in the side. Okay. Verse 7, and upon the table of showbread they shall spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes, and the spoons, and the bowls, and the cover to cover withal. And the continual bread shall be thereon. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with a covering of badger skins, and shall put in the staves thereof. And they shall take a cloth of blue, and cover the candlestick of the light, and his lamps, and his tongues, and his snuff dishes. Does anybody get what they're calling the lamp of his? Okay. And all the oil vessels thereof, wherewith they ministered unto it. And they shall put it and all the vessels thereof within a covering of badger skin, and shall put it upon a bar. And upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badger skins, and shall put to the staves thereof. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badger skins, and shall put them on a bar. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple cloth thereon. And they shall put upon it all the vessels thereon, wherewith they minister about it, even the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skin, and put to the staves of it. Verse 15. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is set forward after that, the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it. So, what's another job of the sons of Kohath?
Come to bear it.
They come
The
to carry
vessels
the
of the sanctuary.
vessel.
But they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. Okay.
Oh, 16.
And the office of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, pertaining to the oil of the light and the sweet incense. So it goes on. So, I've read that for two reasons. One, that Kohath is mentioned. Two, the great detail that's taken when the ark is moved.
Great.
And when does the ark move? Does anybody know when the ark moves?
Whenever the Most High told
When the
him,
cloud
told him to.
Right, so that means that who's all moving when the ark moves?
All in
Every-
The whole camp
The whole
moves when the
camp.
ark moves, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 3. Okay, so that was a little background. So leading up to this, so chapter 1, we have Elkanah and his wife, right? They have a baby, Hannah. She prays. She has Samuel. Samuel is led to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2, we have Samuel serving before Yah, right? And then you have all the craziness of Eli and his sons.
Right.
The man of Yah comes, right? And he prophesies. Does anybody remember what he told Samuel?
There will be a man in the house of Eli. Eli.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the
That's what
prophecy.
we might be.
I'm going to read it to you again. This is significant because everything is getting ready to converge in chapter 4.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yes.
verse 27 says, Now a man of Elohim came to Eli and said to him, This is what Yahuwah says. Did I not clearly reveal myself to you and your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestors out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, and to wear an ephod in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and in my offering that I prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening themselves on the choice parts of every offering made by my people Israel? Therefore, Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, declares, I promise that members of your family, I'm reading a different version, but for emphasis, would minister before me forever. But now, Yahuwah declares, far be it from me. Those who honor me, I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. The time is coming when I will cut short your strength and the strength of your priestly house, so that no one in it will reach an old age, and you will see distress in my dwelling. Although good will be done to Israel, no one in your family line will ever reach old age. Every one of you that I do not cut off from serving at my altar, I will spare, only to destroy your sight and sap your strength, and all your descendants will die in the prime of life. And what happens to your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, will be assigned to you. They will both die on the same day. I will rise up for myself a faithful priest who will do according to what is in my heart and mind. I will firmly establish his priestly house, and they will minister before my anointed one always. Then everyone left in their family line will come and bow down before him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread and plead, appoint me to some priestly office so I can have food to eat. That was a prophecy, right? Just sit on it. Okay? And then we know what Yah says, Yah tells Samuel. So that was a prophecy given to Eli, remember? So Eli knows this thing. It doesn't say anybody else knows exactly what Eli knows. Then Samuel gets this prophecy in 1 Samuel chapter 3 when he's called. And it says, And Yahuwah said to Samuel, See, I'm about to do something, it's 1 Samuel 3, 11 through 14. See, I'm about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time, I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family. Eli knows, right? From the beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed Elohim, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore, I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering. Okay? Now, officially, 1 Samuel, chapter 4. Now, the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Pause. It doesn't mean that the word came in the sense of something coming in through a door. Hebrew word is the word Bahayu. It means, and it came to pass. So what we learn from this part is that what Yah told Samuel, it was a prophecy, and Samuel, as a prophet, had to tell all the people that thing. That's why when he said, don't withhold this thing from me. Right?
Right.
But all we know from what Samuel told the people is what Samuel knew. We don't get the part that was given to Eli. Eli knows it in full. Samuel knows it in part, if you will. Okay? Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle and pitch beside Ebenezer. And the Philistines pitched in Aphek. And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel. And when they joined battle, Israel was smitten before the Philistines, and they slew of the army in the field about 4,000 men. Okay? And when the people were coming to the camp, the elders of Israel said, wherefore hath Yahuwah smitten us today before the Philistines? So they're asking, like, how can we be losing right now? Right? Right? That's a lot of people. Keep going. Then I'll pause. Let us fetch the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah out of Shiloh unto us, that when it come among us, it may save us out of the hand of our enemies. Can somebody tell me what's wrong with that?
They should have never been touching it.
They weren't supposed to. They weren't the children of Israel.
I mean, they were children of Israel.
They weren't given the duties to
to
handle the Ark of the Covenant.
And if
And
you
it's
did,
not-
you would die.
And Hophni and Phineas weren't walking right with the Father.
So we're getting the literal convergence of all these things because remember last week I was like, people asked, so y'all killed them over fat
Right.
and food,
No.
but how they were doing in the temple and how they were acting had to do with the disposition of their heart. And remember when Yah spoke, he said, "You've caused my people to abhor my sacrifice." If they abhor what's happening in the temple, then when they go back to their house, if we're looking at leadership and leadership is corrupt, then what is it going to do?
Because the
It trickles down,
yes,
and then all the people
to
become
be
corrupt. Okay. So they said, "Let us bring the ark unto us." Does anybody know? First of all, could they have done it? Now we know they're not supposed to move without Yah, right? But what is the other violation here? Anybody know?
They taking it to war with them?
Okay, that is a violation, but what is the violation temple-wise? It's a temple law.
They touched it.
No,
That
it
would be-
had to be certain people.
Yeah,
who
certain
handled
people.
it.
Certain people and what else?
Covered a certain way?
It's covered a certain way. One more thing.
I'm trying to think.
Has to do with the feast day.
Oh, I don't know.
The Ark of the Covenant sits within the Holy of Holies.
Yes. They
Right.
Crossing that veil
Okay.
is punishable by death.
Okay.
Right.
To even go in to get the Ark of the Covenant,
It went in once a year during the Holies of
Right.
Holies.
during
the
when?
Day of
Yom
Atonement.
Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
You were only allowed, and only the high priest was allowed to enter into the Holy of Holies one time of year before that mercy seat during the Day of Atonement.
He
Leviticus
had to
chapter
go in with
16.
bells on.
And with a rope.
And with a rope.
And a rope.
I wrote the bells on.
Dragons.
Yes.
Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2.
Right.
There's a
War with them.
they had
That was
completely lost
Lost.
You said Leviticus what?
16. Leviticus
16
16.
right here. Chapter 4.
But wasn't they told to do it? Yeah. Okay, they wasn't.
Verse 1.
Okay, so wait,
Start at
look
verse
at
one.
and look at the parallel. I am. Look at the parallel here because we know something's getting ready to happen. I told you. Was it the food and their whoring that killed him? No. It was even more. And they had already, their cousins, had already experienced the same thing. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered before Yahuwah and and Yahuwah said unto Moses, speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place, within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, that he die not. For I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Does anybody know the significance of the cloud? I guess the word duality between the cloud and the mercy seat. What does it represent about Yah? The cloud that comes down the mercy seat.
The covering. The,
It represents
Spirit
his
is
presence.
What is it called?
Shekinah.
But what is it? I guess when we say it in
glory.
English, it's called the glory of Yah. The glory of Yah is upon us. So the reason why you couldn't go into that place is because the glory of Yah was sitting, if you will, upon that place.
And no man can see him without dying.
Right. So you have already you get the foreshadowing of something that's wrong. The prophecy begins to unravel literally at that moment. For them to be able to go in at all, the glory of Yah had already left.
It wasn't there.
Or they would have dropped dead.
They would have
Dropped- they
to
would've
be able
died
to enter
even to
into
go
that
get it.
space would have been death.
That's
So the
right.
fact that Yah allowed
Me too.
that
I'm
they were
super
even
confused.
allowed to enter in that space and not die was because Yah's
He was
glory had
already
already
gone.
arrived.
He's
He was
not
already
there.
gone. So they're wondering. Let me give you some context. They're fighting, right? And they're like, "How are we losing to the Philistines?" Now, if you know anything about the Philistines,
These are y'all.
right?
That's
You're losing because what?
The
glory is there.
But they don't stop and go, wait.
Scratcher.
What?
Right.
Something's wrong. They do. They go, something's wrong here. And then the elders, which is hilarious, these are your elders. They're supposed to know the book, right? You
let us go do it.
You know what?
Uh-huh.
Go get
The
it.
glory of Yah. Wait, we are losing.
So then-
How about you go get the ark? Suicide mission.
Right.
And so
Right.
the elders are also far removed from the book.
Mhm.
Because they would have been like, hey, we should probably, first of all, it doesn't say that they inquired of Yah before they went to
That's
battle.
right.
You know, when I think about the battles of Israel,
They always inquire.
every time before they went to battle, they go, Yah, should we go to
Yah,
battle? So they're just
Yah, should we
out,
fight?
they out fighting, they out doing whatever,
Every
right?
man to his own
And so the elders, just as ignorant as the young people,
Uh-huh.
said, go get the ark. They were so far removed from obedience to Yah that they had got caught up in the ritual and didn't even notice that Yah was missing. And immediately, now you're going to see it a little bit later in scripture, so I'm going to jump. But do you remember during Josiah's time that when, let me not forget his name, I said I wasn't. When, if you know it, when the priest is in the temple, his name's going to come to me, and they find the Book of the Covenant. Now, mind you, you're in Yah's house.
Right.
The Book of the Covenant should not be lost.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So what it shows you about that time period was a repeat of something, but they had been doing the service of Yah without
his
the ordinances of Yah.
Yeah.
So the same thing had happened the previous time, which is this time, where they were pretty much using the service of Yah like the pagans were, where it's for novelty. And you're going to hear how the Philistines refer to Yah, and then watch how they then refer to Yah. Okay? How did I end up in Leviticus in my book? Okay, 1 Samuel, I think we're at verse 4. If I'm wrong, somebody's tell me where we are.
Yes, it's 4.
4. So the people sent to Shiloh, so like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So the people, nobody was like, not even Hophni and Phinehas were like, no.
They didn't even question the father at all. He's supposed to go
So the
down.
people sent to Shiloh that they might bring from thence the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah of hosts, which dwelt between the cherubim. I'm not lying. It wasn't not in its place, because that's the. Most people think that they must have been moving.
Right.
The ark was set up.
Right where it was
The
right,
tabernacle was set up.
right,
It was
right.
right where it was supposed to be.
Right.
And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of Elohim. And when the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth rang. They're happy, literally, about breaking Yah's commandments. Literally, they're like excited. They're like, they're not even realizing. Like, I'm reading this and I'm like, wait, nobody was like,
Put your stuff in.
Hold on, we doing something wrong.
excuse me. So, I hate to, we were talking about this earlier, and the reason why there are a lot of parallels made between where we are in our walk now and where we were in our previous religious convictions and assemblies is because it's very, very much indicative of the way our people were back then. So not necessarily in a way to always want to relive the tragedy of where we came from, but to make the parallel. So I'm going to make this parallel with you, and because it's very fitting. We're in a season right now that's known as Christmas. Now, Saturnalia, the former time. And people are literally taking this book and the stories in this book
And trying to put it.
and then literally praising and shouting in a jubilant way toward Yah and using his word, like, see, because, you know, Jesus, he was born on Christmas, and literally and doing the very same thing where you've completely disregarded the word of Yah, which if you read it, you wouldn't have been doing it in the first place.
Right.
And you're taking the parts and you're using the word to help you, in a sense,
Right.
disobey Yah.
Justify.
So
Yeah.
you're literally, you violated like 20 laws in this first 4 verses, right? And then when your sin, because now the ark is a representative of their sin, how is it out in the open? It didn't say they took down the tabernacle. It didn't say they covered it with the badger skin.
Right.
They brought the ark out. And it didn't say that it didn't say that they were like, oh, snap. Like, nothing rang a bell. They were so far removed. And so we wonder sometimes how when we were in Christianity, how it didn't just strike me. How did I not see this? How did it not, like, just, because
The glory had left.
it wasn't even there.
It wasn't there.
There was no Yah's presence. He had to remove himself from us. I'm not talking just dealing with this, but I'm talking about us individually.
Right.
So that he didn't destroy us while we were in our sin.
Wow.
He knew what the people were getting ready to do because it was in the prophecy.
Right.
So instead of the ark coming out of that Holy of Holies and then bringing it, and as they carried it, people start dropping like flies, and all Israel die at that moment, I, in my mercy, let me take a step back.
Wow.
Like a loving parent.
Right? I have to step away from you guys because everybody
Everything
is
was
getting
done.
ready to die
Right.
at this moment. So you see, like, the weight of it. Let me give you the definition of Yah's glory, since that's a really good segue. Because this whole chapter deals with the glory of Yah.
Yeah.
The glory, concretely, right, is the Hebrew word kavod, but it actually directly relates to the liver, the human liver, and it's supposed to be the heaviest organ in the human body. Okay? The reason why the weight is significant is because glory has to do with the weightiness of something. Okay? So, if you've ever felt that feeling of like being disobedient to Yah, you're like, why do I feel so weighted down?
Right.
It's because Yah cares. That's his glory. Stop trying to stop you from self-destruction. When people feel good about doing bad things, that's when Yah ain't nowhere around.
Right.
He's like, I got it back up.
Right.
Because your complete disregard for me will make me kill you.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
in order for me to save you.
If you
from
ever
yourself,
have, anybody
you
has
step
kids,
back.
Parents.
it's that moment where you're like,
Whoa.
I'm just gonna walk away.
Right.
I gotta walk away.
I
Right.
said, but put my hands
I
on
don't
you
even
right
want you
now.
to find out who I am right
That
now.
could be
Yes.
what I'm trying
You're
to
gonna be
communicate.
scared of me.
I might karate chop you.
Right.
And really, my chastisement and my judgment,
Right.
it's like, I'm so much more powerful than you, and you don't even realize what you're doing right now. So, like, you should forgive them, yeah, for they know not what they do. I'm just gonna turn around. Okay.
Whoa.
Kavod is the word. It's kaf. I'm gonna write it in modern script and then in pictograph. Kaf, bet, dalet. Okay. That's that. And then I'm gonna give it to you in the pictographs because everyone can understand the pictographs. Not everyone can understand script.
Right.
But if you're gonna look this up, like in your lexicon or somewhere, this is pretty much just how it's gonna look. All right. So then let me give it to you in pictures. So a kaf is the palm of a hand. The bet is a tent or house. and the dalet is a door.
Door.
So imagine the glory of Yah, right? And how it descends upon the temple. And when the glory of Yah was with the people, they won battles.
Mm-hmm.
They were fruitful. They were blessed, right? So kavod, in its word picture sense, is literally the picture of the hand, in the sense the hand of Yah, upon the house in order to like open pathways.
Mm.
So when the hand of Yah, or the glory of Yah, is ascended on the house or on the people, Israel,
Uh-huh.
then doors are open for them, right?
Wow, that's beautiful.
When the hand of Yah is removed, doors shut,
Shut.
wars are lost, people die. It's
Right.
terrible. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So only one hand has the ability to put its hand, if you will, on the house.
Mm-hmm.
People can't do it. Nobody can move Yah's hand.
Right.
If Yah before you, who can be against you? Right? If Yah's hand is in it, like the people say this, if Yah opens the door, who can close it? Right?
Right.
But if Yah doesn't open it, you're gonna be hard pressed to get through it.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So the kavod has to do with the weight of Yah. So remember the prophecy to Eli from Yah, from the man of Yah. He actually talks about this glory in a literal sense, because a lot of times we get stuff in scripture and it's abstract, right? In 1 Samuel chapter 2, starting at verse 29, he says, "Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offering that I prescribe for my dwelling? Why do you honor? Why do you put weight? Why do you give my glory, right, to your sons more than me, by fattening yourselves on the choice parts of every offering?" Then he goes on and he gets to verse 30, and he says, therefore Yahuwah Elohim of Israel declares, I promised that members of your family would minister before me forever. But now, because of what they've done, declares Yahuwah, far be it from me, those who honor me, put weight on me, right? Then I will honor them. And those who despise me, I will disdain them. Remember last week, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago, I gave you the word trifling. It's like that light thing, right? So the idea of that's light, that's an effect, and I'm going to treat it like that. They had already taken that mindset toward Yah, and so it literally, we're seeing it manifest. So the kavod was no longer there. She said, I'm going to show them something great. They don't even realize that the signs are playing out before them. It gets more interesting. All right, so verse 5, when the Ark of the Covenant of Yahuwah came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout so that the earth rang. And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, what meaneth the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews? We just killed 4,000 of them. What are they so happy about? Right. And they understood, which means it was made known to them, maybe through spying out or whatever, that the Ark of Yahuwah was coming to the camp. And the Philistines were afraid. Now, how the heathen got more sense
I know.
than the people,
They had
right?
fear and
That's
trembling.
like kids that come to your house, they're more afraid of the parent, you, than the kids are. You're watching the kids act a fool. And then you start whooping the kids and they scared of you. And I'm like, you ain't getting a whooping, they get one.
Right. So, literally. And the Philistines were afraid, for they said, Elohim is coming to the camp, right? Woe unto us. What a different response. They happy. They done robbed Yah's temple and stole the ark out of the temple, and they clapping. They like, oh, they got the ark. Woe unto us. You're like, look at this. And they said, woe unto us, for there hath not been such a thing heretofore. They even said, we ain't never seen the ark come out.
Wow.
Mind you, the Philistines and Israel have been fighting for a lot of years.
Right.
Pretty much since Israel came into Canaan, they've been battling. They said, we ain't never seen this before.
Cousins. Yeah.
But they knew the silver.
They had watched them enough and been to battle enough to know enough about them, more than they even knew about themselves. It's interesting because the enemy knows a lot more about you
than you know.
than you know about yourself.
Don't see you, he watches.
Right? So they said, oh, we ain't never seen this before. And then they said it again. Woe unto us! Who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty Elohim? These are the Elohim that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues. They reciting the history. They remember.
Right.
Yeah.
They remember. Let me tell you. Let me go back just because I want to give you what Yah told Eli from the prophet. It said in verse 27 of chapter 2. He says, "Now a man of Elohim came to Eli and said, 'This is what Yahuwah says. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh?' He brought that to his remembrance. How can you not remember it? And it's your experience.
Right.
But then your adversary over here is like, I ain't never seen this ark before.
Remember when she did that?
Remember when they was in Egypt?
Oh, yeah. They
They
That's
were,
so
very,
us, though.
they were very in tune to what was happening with them, and they were so far removed from what was going on.
We clueless.
Man,
Caught
it's so
up.
crazy.
Wow.
In your sins.
So,
Yes.
verse 9 says, "Be strong and quit yourselves like men." Like, get your stuff together, yo. Oh, you Philistines, that ye be not servants unto the Hebrews, as they have been to you. Quit yourselves like men and fight. Like, get y'all stuff
Quit
together.
crying.
Right? Y'all better
Get your heart right.
They have, like, you know, men be like, all right, right. Man up. Like, literally, like,
Together, we gotta go fight.
right, like,
I
they
try.
were
You better get your whole life right now.
They were scared.
They had fear and tremble.
Because they weren't scared of Hebrews, they just whooped them.
They scared. Yeah, we scared of God.
Yeah.
Verse 10, "And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten." So, plan didn't work. "And they fled, every man into his tent, and there was a great slaughter. For there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen." 30,000.
Wow.
So all of a sudden you would think, right? You'd be like, okay, was a flop. Art, and then flop.
Work.
And this is the part. Because I was like, oh, right?
I know.
And the ark of Elohim was taken, were slain. So it's long suffering. These people, they've been doing this in the temple. Why didn't you just kill them then? So what we didn't know, they had space and time to repent. It was when they went in there and took that ark that they got to do. See, he said, "I'm going to do a thing that has never been done before in Israel." Right? Because last time somebody went into the Holy of Holies and did something stupid, they died. Those were Aaron's sons. Nadab and Abihu, right? So I can't do the same thing if I said I'm going to do something different. No, I'm going to do something even different, more different. I'm going to let you come in. I'm going to let you take it out. And I'm going to kill you in front of everybody. And then I'm going to let the ark be taken. Let me give you some verses, though, because it really struck me, and I think the thing that really moved me was that they insured their own deaths. In this walk, it's always tragic when you come to the realization that some people will insure their own deaths. Because people go, why would God kill? That's what they say. Why would God kill? God doesn't kill anybody. People decide
Right.
to kill themselves.
You
They
decide.
want to die.
Now, death, I'm talking about the death of the flesh is evident because for the wages of sin
Right.
is death, right?
Accelerated.
Uh-huh.
But there's two deaths. If you want to hear about the two deaths, I made a video about it. There's two deaths.
Uh-huh.
And there is the death of the flesh, and then there's also the dying in your disobedience, which then secures your eternal fate, right? So, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, the prophecy came to Eli, right? As a father, we're going to learn.
Right.
As a father, you didn't go to your sons and say, you're going to die if you don't get this together.
Yeah.
This is going to be the death of you.
Right. He didn't say anything.
Nobody knew. All they knew was the prophecy that came from Samuel.
Samuel.
They didn't say, and the word that came to Eli,
Right.
he didn't even
Tell us.
let it out. Because nobody stopped them.
Right.
Nobody on the battlefield, nobody saw them walking in the tabernacle, nobody saw them walking past 600 million people, plus women and children. Nobody was like, hey!
Wait.
Hey! Where are you going?
Right,
Where are you
right,
going? With?
stop.
Nobody. Absolutely no one. No one.
But Eli's total disregard too for himself because you ain't gonna make me look crazy.
Yeah.
But you know
But
what I
he
mean?
was
Like,
scared.
but y'all already said, he said, you honor them
Right.
over me.
Right.
So it already
yeah,
told you
not
why
saying
he
that
felt like
you ain't
that.
gonna make
So
me look crazy.
literally what happens is that y'all had been long suffering. Now we don't necessarily get a time period between when that prophecy was given and when this happens. Because when scripture does certain things, sometimes it will jump shift. Because we're going to see something completely different in chapter 6. And then by the time you get to 7, Samuel's a grown man and he's anointing people. And so you get like, there's a jump. So time has passed where it's pretty much showing you nothing changed. It actually got worse. We don't need to talk about it. It's evident, right? But what it showed me about Yah, and in regards to what I was saying about people who perish. Yah, people go, why would a loving God, because I've heard it, they don't say loving God, why would a loving God send anyone to hell? He don't send nobody to hell. They choose to go.
You said you saved.
Because he's long suffering. I'm gonna give you a bunch of verses before we move on. Because in this, we learn something about the character of Yah. Where he didn't just make them drop dead, he allows space and time for repentance. He literally told them exactly what was gonna happen. They would go die on the same day. If that was me and my sibling every day, I'd be like, we better get it right, because if we do something wrong on the same day,
When you
both
die,
of us
I
die.
die. Yeah.
When we're together, both of us are out. You would think they would get it together. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Learn something about the character of Yah and his people.
Yeah.
Says,
I'm good. I don't watch the videos in
does anybody have it? Anybody want to read? And start at verse 10 if you don't know.
Chapter 8.
Then I
Verse
saw the wicked buried. It's Ecclesiastes 8:10. Then I saw the wicked buried who had come and gone from the place of holiness. And they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This also is vanity. Because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
So it literally says, because Yah doesn't execute his judgment swiftly, people do. My sister was like, this is so funny.
Ain't that something?
She would do this thing like this. We'd be at home, my mom would go, when I get back from work, I want my kitchen clean, your rooms need to be clean, your homework needs to be done, right? She would do, don't let me come home to a nasty house, or I'm gonna
Explicit.
Right?
your
Explicit.
right? Right? It wasn't like she was kidding. It wasn't like she was like maybe serious. Maybe she wasn't sure about what you were. No, you literally like you were like, am I gonna get beat ahead of time for what you think I might? Right. So me, I'm like, I don't like getting whooping. So I'm like, I'm cleaning up. But no, in hindsight, I probably should have did her chores too. But
You probably wasn't.
When y'all messed up y'all all,
But
she got me trying to stop the beat.
what would happen was I would get mine done because I didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
But because sometimes mom would be so tired when she came home from work, she wouldn't say anything. Right? So this one day, I'm cleaning up, and I tell my sister, I said, no, mom's going to be home. Make sure you clean the kitchen. So mom walks past the kitchen, looks in the kitchen, walks to her room. I said, Nuna, like, she came back. She think she maybe even came back early. I said, Mom is back in the kitchen ain't clean. She said, Mom saw the kitchen wasn't clean. She didn't say nothing.
Oh, Lord.
It wasn't until late in the night I hear her hollering because she waited until she was
You was good and ready to
she waited until she was rested. I'm gonna go lay down. Not even time to
And then don't think I forgot though.
And then she wake her up out of a sleep beater and then make her clean the kitchen and tell her right.
Right.
Oh why did you just do that?
I have time today, but on Wednesday.
Right?
Wait a week.
Literally. Right. You know it's coming.
Right.
See, I knew enough to know it was coming.
Right. So
Same thing with Yah though. Because Yah is not making people drop dead where they stand for the stuff that they do, people go, I kept Christmas. I was doing this. I was doing it. And Yah didn't do anything and you're like, I know. Because when the sentence for a crime is not expediently executed, the hearts of men become fully set on doing evil.
Wow.
You would think that when you knew it was coming, you would be like, you know what, let me get this together. It's the opposite for the hearts of men. If y'all didn't do it right now, then okay. Because I imagine, well, we're going to read a little bit more about Eli, because Eli had anxiety. So, he did, literally. So Eli, I mean, when they went in, I'm sure they were like, all right, we in the first veil. Okay, well, we're in the Holy of Holies. Oh, we picked it up.
Ain't nothing happened. Let's go.
Walk it up. Why wouldn't at some point, instead of like, nothing happening, you'd be like, nothing your conscience said, you know what, this is a terrible idea. Put it down. Your conscience, the heart of man is deceitfully wicked above all things. Keep going. That's why sin is such a slippery slope. Because the first time you do it, okay, I'm feeling a little guilty, but it wasn't that bad. The more you practice sin, though, guess what? The easier it becomes to sin.
Repetition makes the master.
And so then it has mastered you. Because now it has dulled all your senses, and you no longer care about the things that you want, the convictions you once had, and now you're hell-bent and set on doing it this particular way. And nothing can stop you but either death or Yah interjecting into your space. Okay, I'm gonna move through these next verses pretty quickly, but you get my point of where I'm going with these. So Ezekiel 33:11 says, "Say unto them, as I live, saith Yahuwah Elohim, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways, for why will you die, O house of Israel?"
That was Ezekiel
33:11.
33:11.
Yeah, okay.
Because people often, like I said, put it on Yah. Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it will certainly come and it will not delay." As I'm getting into these, you're going to see where my mind space was going, because it started off with Hophni and Phinehas, and then we're progressing time-wise toward what is going to come. Everything in Scripture is cyclical. What happened is a story, and it's good. All Scripture is good for reproof, but it's good for reproof for right now. Because the very thing that's happening to them, those same things are on a ticking clock to be executed amongst our generation. So even if the world doesn't come to an end, there is a judgment that has to come to pass within this time period. It's coming. We're approaching a time of what will be called restitution, where things that are off balance have to come into balance. And it just depends on what side of the balance you're on, and that's how it's going to affect you. If you're on Yah's side, the effects, in a sense, are minimal. I say in a sense because we have loved ones who are on the other side.
Right.
So it feels I'll go after. They know.
Yeah, they know.
They know. And the issue is they honor men, people, money, accolades. What will happen? Not even the what ifs. It's not even always necessarily the people, but it's the fear of, we've always been doing it this way. I know I'm seeing it right here, but then this commentary in front of me says different. So there always forces this choice. And believe me, I know enough of them to let you know that it bothers them. So what normally you would think